Hey, Chad, I like the hat. You're looking good, man.
Thanks, JB. Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
And we're back, guys. And so we were just talking about the play, and we'll go back here for a second and just review it again. As this was 2019, and my last touchdown, and then the field goal. It was an amazing moment there.
Line up. This is going to be a 42-yard attempt to win the game by Anthony Avila. And they just get it away. The kick is up. And good. Mary Hart-Baylor wins it at the buzzer. A 42-yard field goal. And the Crew has come. Hart-Simmons 15-14.
And audio worked that time. It probably doesn't get old, but there's a danger, I think, sometimes in that video that you get so used to seeing it and thinking that fate and destiny is always going to go on the side of Mary Hardin-Baylor. Eventually, that's going to run out, isn't it?
You know, I hope not, but it's definitely one of those things you never take for granted. You definitely don't want to have to win a game that way, but you'll take it anytime you can get it.
No kidding. JB, go ahead.
Chad, I assume you were probably at the spring game between these two teams, which was like a tale of two halves. I mean, what from your perspective did Hardin-Simmons do in the second half that made the game finally competitive? I mean, we know what the first half was. I mean, it was the Crew O-line really demolished, they set the tone of the game. But Hardin-Simmons fought back, and maybe if there was a little more time in that game, they could have tied it. What did you see from the stands that sort of made you think, all right, well, maybe this Hardin-Simmons team, is a little better than we thought?
You know, we know who Hardin-Simmons is. They are a team that's never going to quit. They are a team that's always going to bring their A game. And watching that game from the stands, it was an interesting spring. You know, the situation we've been in as a nation, as a world, and the guys coming into a strange spring season. It was interesting that entire season, and watching Hardin-Simmons in that game. I mean, we felt confident. Obviously, the guys had won a close game against ETBU, but. You know, Hardin-Simmons just started taking some chances down the field, and the one play where the wide receiver got off and was basically in the goal line, but the whole Leon let Don Beebe thing came up, and that's the way the ball game goes sometimes, and UMHB's been on the opposite end of that before. Playing Linfield in the playoffs in 16, and the ball gets hiked over the guy's head, and it goes all the way to the 50 or whatever, and Linfield ends up kicking a field goal to win the game. That's just how the game goes, and luckily we were on the right side that day.
We've heard a lot of chirping about 40s and 50s, and who knows what the Crew might do on the scoreboard tonight. And I noticed that the Hardin-Simmons players actually, during warm-ups tonight, were sitting on the Crew side of the field. An interesting start to the gamesmanship that we might expect from these teams, but somebody I'm friends with here said he's never seen that happen before, and it didn't go unnoticed by the Crew and Crew faithful. So, I mean, do you think there's going to be some gamesmanship here between now and kickoff? We got a good, about half an hour to go. What else are we going to see around here, Chad?
I think there's gamesmanship throughout the entire thing. Hardin-Simmons is going to come out. They know what our pregame routine is. They know when to come out. They know how to steal the thunder. And so whatever little edge that can be taken, I think, is definitely going to be had.
JB, go ahead as we look at the players start to come onto the field.
Yeah, so what our quote-unquote national audience may not realize, that Chad knows very well, is that this is a homecoming for the Crusaders. Right. And, as a local, as an alum, tell us a little bit about what homecoming is like down there in Belton. I know Frank has already enjoyed some of the cuisine that Central Texas provides, and he sent me a nice picture of his pregame meal there, so I know he's all set. But what's homecoming like on the campus of UMHB right now?
Oh, hold on, before you answer, JB, I only showed you part of that meal. So this is the other part of my Jalisco's meal that I have not eaten yet. Wow. The enchilada taco combination plate, called the Guadalajara, I believe, actually, at Jalisco's. But nice. JB, I did visit the press box. I didn't stop at Miller's because I knew that one of the treats here at Mary Hardin Baylor in the press box, and so I went upstairs. I was a little late getting back down here to get everything together because, I'm still hungry. And here we go. If I can do it without spilling it. Wow. We got the moist brisket. I believe that's moist brisket. We got the sausage, the mac and cheese, and the pickles from Miller's Smokehouse. I throw them a full plug, but I'm not sure what street they're on.
Right. They're right off Central. So.
Right off Central Ave.
Yeah, they are great. They've been a Belton staple for a long time. Mama Miller puts out some great desserts as well. But getting back to homecoming, so I was a student starting in '97. My wife and I lived on campus after we got married as dorm directors.
1897?
Yeah, exactly.
Got
1897.
Got it.
And so just homecoming to me here is it's a fantastic time to come back together and see friends and see the new alumni. On Friday night, they have an event called Stunt Night, and I got to be a judge for that last night, so that was a lot of fun.
What was the best stunt? I'm going to put you over half a step.
Yeah, well, the sophomores ended up winning, and they did a great job. It was basically the different classes come out, do some different skits, and there's music and dancing, and they bring in a lot of the UMHB leadership as part of it too, and they really do a great job, so that's a lot of fun. Today we had the carnival on King Street. That when I was a student, it wasn't a street out there. You were only supposed to go one way, but I think we broke that rule a couple of times. But it's all paved in now. It's great. They've got carnival games and food, and then they have a tailgate party where they also had the Millers, and so it's a great day. It's fantastic to fill the stadium up for such a great game.
You saw our interview with Jefferson Fritz, I believe, yesterday that got released, and such a cool, calm guy. And I watched some more of it when we went to Fishor's Instagram videos of him in the weight room and being barefooted in the weight room.
Right.
That guy's just savage in that weight room. And he's ready to try to get some pro prospects, I think. What do you think his chances are from what you know?
Obviously we had Jarrell Freeman, who got in with Indianapolis and then with Chicago. We've had a few other guys who've had some little bit opportunities. Watching Jefferson Fritz as a freshman and taking that place from Baylor Mullins, and the way that he has just come in to really own that spot, and the way he's bulked up. I mean, it seems like every fall when we get to that first game and I see him, and I just feel like he's gotten bigger and bigger every year, and his athleticism, his knowledge, and just field awareness for the ball. I can't imagine a better prospect that we've had who should get some looks and should have an opportunity. I think he could bring something to any team.
Was anybody mad at my joke about him being here as long as Fredenberg?
I don't think so. But, it seems like he's been here forever.
At least you admit it, too.
That's right.
JB, I'll give you the last call here.
Well, Chad, I guess what as a fan and an alum who knows both of these teams really well, kind of going with the proverbial, that the Crusaders are playing well if this happens, and if the Cowboys are playing well if this happens. What would you say are those two aspects that each of these teams need to sort of get off on the right foot in this game?
Well, the thing that's really surprised me really about UMHB in the first 3 games has been the initial intensity. No matter if it was Simpson or even up to ETBU Southwestern, it's been the intensity from the defensive line. The first play to me is going to be really key on defense for us. I think that if you see UMHB really attacking the front of Hardin-Simmons, and if they're getting into the backfield, it's going to be a long day for Hardin-Simmons. They're going to have to contain the defensive line. They're going to have to do it on multiple levels because we have backups that come in all the time. And I think that for Hardin-Simmons to be effective, Kyle Jones is going to have to come out and be quick to his wide receivers. The offensive line is going to have to try to figure out how to make some holes that our defensive line can't fill. And on the offensive side, we just got KJ Miller back last week against Southwestern, and he had a fantastic game. I think if he is open and getting the ball a lot and moving downfield, it's going to be a long day for Hardin-Simmons. Defensively, as I watched them last week against Belhaven, Belhaven really attacked them against the run and really worked hard to take that time off the clock. UMHB's got Afonso Thomas, who didn't play in the spring. He's an SMU transfer, and he's been very dynamic. And I think if he's getting his way and running like Belhaven did last week, it's going to be a big game.
Well, I see the homecoming king or queen, or the court is coming down the stairs, so we have some interesting stuff coming down here. JB's doing his homecoming wave. I'm not sure he would really win looking at this crew. JB, I think you're just a little outside the age range here. What's your final prediction?
I think that it's hard for me to see Hardin-Simmons getting any more than 14 or 15 points against our defense, but it can happen. I mean, like I've heard you guys say on your shows, it's a rivalry game, anything goes. I think UMHB, they tend to play conservative. The words that have come out of Coach Fred's mouth in the first 3 weeks has been that he wants to see this offense take off. He wants to see them not get into that lull that we're used to seeing UMHB get into when they play difficult teams. And so I think that if things go the way that I've been seeing them, I think a 34-10 score for UMHB is right in the ballpark.
34-10. We'll see what happens. People can see you what your writings are a lot on the D3 message boards on D3boards.com. You're going to be assisting us from time to time as well. You've offered to give us some inside track video in the ASC in future games. We appreciate that. Chad Hammonds from UMHB. Thank you very much, sir. JB, we're going to go back to the scoreboard in 1 second here, and I'm going to let you go back through these games and things that stick out.
I've got a pretty good update for you, Frank. There has been another top 25 upset out in my old neck of the woods in Los Angeles. Claremont Mud Scripps has defeated Chapman 29-21.
Wow.
So we saw Randolph Macon lose by 1. So there's going to be a couple of teams likely dropping out of the top 25. And some teams moving on up with some of the upsets we've seen. One score, Chad, I'll throw at you. Murray is up 21-10 on Southwestern at halftime. Probably not a big surprise there, just given where things are at in the ASC. But St. Lawrence is taking care of Castleton. Average up 14-10 in the first quarter there. So most of the games are starting to go final. We're getting close to the remaining 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock kickoff. So. It's been an exciting day, but definitely a few upsets that have happened that are going to affect the top 25 that Frank's going to have to vote on come tomorrow.
Well, Chad and I are still here. We were interested to see where the scores laid, but I'm going to have you go back to the slides actually for a second here on regions 1 through 5. Go right or 1 through 6. I forgot 6. Oops. Here we go.
Yeah. So like I said before, we saw some crossover games. Those are the ones in bold. Merchant Marine has been on a tear lately, Frank, and even though they haven't really played the toughest part of their schedule, there's some chatter from the Mariner alumni like, hey, when is this team going to maybe get some top 25 votes, and they are undefeated. They're winning games pretty big. So far so good for the Mariners, who have yet to start NUMAC play. Some other scores that stand out here: Lyco has a 1-point win over Stevenson. The Mustangs, who we thought might be the second best team in the MAC, is now 0-4. Tough start for them. A MASCAC win for Framingham State. So they seem to be, whatever was going on with them the first 2 weeks has been effectively cured now that they're in their conference schedule moving right along. We see a kind of surprising score there at the bottom, Frank. Husson beating Springfield 26-21 after the Pride was so close to maybe knocking off Union from last week. Kind of surprised there. And then if you look up here, Colby, I think that's the right score. Maybe I got it backwards, but Colby beat Amherst 10-7, which is a surprise a little bit. And Wesleyan more than doubles up Hamilton. So looking once again, Wesleyan could be the the dark horse there in the NESCAC, but Williams needed OT and a field goal to get by Tufts, which was interesting. And then we had Endicott and Norwich in the fourth quarter. I believe that game has gone to a final by now. And, at this point, looks pretty much like an Endicott win there. We'll have that updated. Other score that I'm obviously tracking, Frank, is Hobart 20, Keystone 0 at my alma mater's homecoming. And I have to say, Frank, that, with the Statesmen basically in the number 26 position on the top 25, with a couple of the upsets we've seen this week, that could actually vault them into the top 25, maybe number 25, making that Ithaca-Hobart game in week 5 probably one of the biggest games of that weekend. Okay, yeah, you're enjoying your barbecue, so I should just keep on vamping here, I guess. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Pomona-Pitzer has gone to a final 44-8 over Willamette. WashU beats Elmer's 27-7. We have some other 6 o'clock games going on. The Texas Lutheran Sol Ross game live stats went out, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It was 3-0 in the second quarter last I saw. And so basically at this point we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games kicking off at 7 o'clock and a few wrapping up between now and then.
Yeah. Alumni Skeeter Jenkins just say hi to us here in our live point on the field. And,
ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Crusader Stadium for today's American.
I can barely hear you over that PA, Frank. They're like blasting you out of the stadium right now.
And the crew of the University of Mary Hardin-Simmons.
Because my microphone was down again. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, well, you got to eat that barbecue, so you can't get the mic in the way.
And we also got a little brightness on our camera because the sun has gone down here. But again, it's going to be around 75 degrees during game time today, which is perfect.
That sounds nice.
Not 89 degrees is a high today, but it's cooled down as the sun's come down. It's going to be perfect. The breeze is very light. It shouldn't affect the last-minute field goals if necessary, running teams onto the field and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
But as I was just saying, the student section I'm in front of, they seem very quiet today. I don't know what's going on here. Obviously, they were waiting for you to come, and they're upset that you're not here.
Oh, yeah, come on.
So we're going to try this one more time. Hey, student section. Students, we need some excitement again.
The NCAA
JD doesn't hear you.
And the University of Mary Hardin-Simmons.
Hold on. You know what usually works if you turn a camera on them. Hold on. And
request cooperation
see what we
by
can do
supporting
here.
the participants and officials in a positive manner.
Okay. Now student section.
Sexist comments or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes.
One more time. So, who's going to win the game tonight? There you go, JB.
Love it. Gotta love it.
Absolutely. And on the field right now, we're getting ready here with a full program of things that are going to be going on here for the pregame show. They do it upright. It's homecoming. Chad's actually here with a guest coach, essentially. He's going to do the coin toss. That was one of his duties while he was actually out on the sideline with us. So, for those that didn't watch, our final predictions yesterday were interesting. I think I had a 1-point game, like 31-30 was mine in favor of Mary Hardin-Baylor. What was yours again? Remind the folks.
And the king and queen.
It was funny. He must have just locked in on the 31 because I think I picked the crew 31-27 because I feel like 4 touchdowns and a field goal in this game sounds about right. It was 23-15, I think, whatever it was in the spring. So maybe it might be a little more higher scoring. We saw 15-14 in 2019, so maybe we're shooting too high. But both of these offenses have looked pretty strong. I got a nice note from I think it was Kyle Jones's one of Kyle Jones's parents about their son's stats, and apparently he's a much more accurate quarterback.
Hold on, time out. Kyle King. Let's not get these crossed out.
There's too many Kyles in this football rivalry. I'm getting confused. Yeah, but Kyle King, the UMHB quarterback, is throwing the ball over 60%, 70% accuracy. He's running 7 touchdowns. So I stand corrected. You got me. And wow, look, we got the homecoming court going on here, Frank.
Might as well.
Elizabeth is walking with Everett White.
Oh no, JB.
Georgetown.
I think I don't know what he's got on you there.
He's looking good in that. Is that a tux or a suit? Probably a tux, right? If you're a homecoming kid, you got to go with the tux.
I think it's a suit, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, some of the antics and shenanigans going on around here. And I've seen it just right in the way on the sideline here. So we're going to let people vibe behind me. It's fun. This is a fun place to be for a football game. For those that don't know, the designer of Yankee Stadium designed this stadium. That's how incredible the cathedral really is when you get down to it. And so as I try to fix some things here, if you've never been here and you have a chance to get through Belton even without a game, come look at this stadium and just understand when you want to do it right in Division III, this is one of the imprints or footprints you should follow after. We talk about Cortland and RPI, but the cathedral, with the student center behind me there, where you'll have a good number of student body watch the game from that area.
Yeah.
After graduation.
So, and they can come out to the vantage point in front too, I believe, and probably will during the game. This is going to be a packed house. This is the most packed since opening night of the stadium, from what I understand. They expect the biggest crowd since they opened the stadium. And you know what? After COVID and everything we've been through, it's good to see that and hear that.
Well, it's also nice that they're not trying to limit capacity like we've seen with certain games that might be coming up, like the Courage Bowl between Brockport and Fisher in Western New York. I mean, at this point, I think, we know enough now about some of the outdoors and other things that we can be a little more, intelligent about it. But we'll get into that in a future episode. Frank, what is the actual capacity of that stadium? And they're not going to have like a sold out house, are they? But it is homecoming, so there could be a few thousand people, 3,000. What do you think?
Hold on, because I think to fully appreciate what's going on here, I will do this before we go off the air. I mean, when you push out, we'll push out further here to the degree we can. When you push out,
you need to turn your mic up.
When you push out, as he was saying, toward the full view here, you could see how expansive the crowd is with tiers up there. And that goes all the way around to there. And then we've got the roadway area where the kind of grassy knoll zone is up there.
Yeah.
And so that's behind that gate is where you drive through, basically. You pass that gate right there. The student center we talked about, where folks will be watching the game from there, and that's going to be visitor stands as well over there, you know that. And then another grassy knoll area that isn't really accessible, but they have some concessions up there on that end of it. So, needless to say, this is a huge stadium. When you talk about sellout here, you're not talking about 5 or 10 people, 5 or 100 people. You're talking about a much larger crowd than that as I get back into the shot here. So the cathedral, I think the capacity has got to be bigger than the ECAF at RPI because of both sides. And on top of it, you can have more spectators in that student center as well. It's a beautiful facility. And that video board that you may have seen as we were panning around there is extraordinary. In fact, we'll get it right back on the screen here. That is a big video board.
Holy smokes. Yeah, whoever donated that spent a pretty penny. So yeah, that is like they said, everything's bigger in Texas.
JB, let's wrap up here by going over really quickly here what games we still have to play in Division III tonight. Trying to get our page reloaded here. If you give me a moment, we'll do so.
Well, I know at least one of them that's about to kick off in 13 minutes is Trine at Center, which is one of the games that we predicted. You like the Thunder, I like the Colonels of Kentucky. So we'll see what happens there. Both teams very explosive, strong offensive units. Should be a high-scoring game, I think. And then some of the other games that we have coming on later. Austin and Bellhaven at 7:30. Carroll Milliken is at 7. St. Norbert Lakeland at 7. Wittenberg Denison is also at 7 o'clock. Over in Region 3, which has been a great region today as far as exciting football goes. Geneva, Bethany is at 7. Washington and Jefferson is at Case Western at 7. That's another game
and that's
that we
not in our shot. That's up top there in the ranked game. So is that the only ranked game still to go? Besides this
pretty
one?
much. Yeah, pretty much. That's it at this point. They, there are, like I said, a couple of more pack games. Waynesburg, Carnegie Mellon, Trine Center, which we already talked about. St. Vincent and Deal are going to be kicking off. Hobart is running away with a 27-0 lead on Keystone. That's not a surprise there. And then otherwise, that's pretty much it. We're waiting to sort of see what happens. It looks like St. Lawrence has got another win. Averett is up by a few points in the second half. That could be a dated score there, but we're down to the last 5 to 8 games left for today. It's been a great day of college football.
JB will stick around for the anthem here, and then we'll be signing off right after that. So one moment.
Christian higher education. It's good to be home today with many of our fellow alums for homecoming, a place you created to mold and challenge students before setting out to be crusaders for life. This is a place of new beginnings, a place of learning, a place of experience friendships for life, and a place to experience you. I pray for our current student body and their continued experiences on campus that will prepare them to be the leaders they need to be in a world that desperately needs Jesus. As we gather here today for this game, I pray a hedge of safety over our athletes and that their play on the field will be honoring to you, that their faith and sportsmanship will be the center stage with our ongoing rivalry and give them all the strength and energy they need to play at their best ability. We also pray for our active military, for we know that freedom does not come free, and are thankful for the freedoms we have to gather in this place to enjoy the game of football. Help our actions to speak louder than our words as we depart from here today. Help us to be faithful followers of you, for only you can bring the love, peace, and joy that our hearts desire. It's in your heavenly name that we pray. Amen.
And Anthem's going to be in a second or two here, I believe. So actually,
I was really hoping you were going to run out there, Frank, and maybe join the dance squad because it looks like something's about to, get choreographed here. So no Frank Rossi dance routine tonight, I guess. We'll probably just keep you on the sideline.
Yeah, not wearing a sparkly jacket or anything tonight. As you're about to see some of the coaching staff from UMHB cross past us here on our vantage point. Just as we try to make it through to the national anthem, because I think it will be a good moment with the band playing and give them their opportunity here. It's interesting to me, just thinking from the perspective of Hardin-Simmons, what you said it in our spring shows, essentially, JB. Kind of you can't get over the hump. When are you going to be able to get over the hump? And you got to be demoralized from some of what happens in that respect over the last couple of years. Like, you thought for sure they were going to have this one in the spring. It didn't happen. Yeah. How do you think a Hardin-Simmons player, especially a senior that's been through some of these really tough scenarios, reacts and handles tonight? Is this adrenaline city? I mean, you've been a football player. Is this adrenaline city, or is this nerves wrecked anxiety right now as far as you're concerned?
Well, I think it's adrenaline city at the start of the game. It will where the Cowboys will need to check themselves from an anxiety and nerves standpoint is if let's say the Crusaders run the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. That's a possibility. They are one of the best special teams units in the nation. They make big plays. It could be a turnover on the Cowboys' first offensive series, and what they're going to need to do is really just not get down when something goes the other way. They have to just keep their heads up and keep fighting, irrespective of what the score is or what's going on in the game. It looks like the crew is about to take the field, and I think adrenaline big time. And both teams are just going to have to sort of roll with the punches. There might be bad calls, there might be some bad breaks, but they're just going to have to not let that anxiety take over and do their best to kind of keep that adrenaline and level head throughout the whole thing.
Right now they're playing a montage on the board as the team waits to come out. We'll stick around for that. Again, we'll stick around for the national anthem and then go off there. A little longer than we expected. We also lost some time earlier with what was happening with our video problems there, our technology issues. So hopefully we don't encounter any more until the national anthem. But the crew is ready to come out. And here they go. Baylor used to play at a high school stadium at Belton High School a number of years ago. In fact, I believe it was in 2008 I did their playoff game against Hardin-Simmons at that point in time. And at a high school that was a phenomenal complex. A lot of the pomp and circumstance you see in Division III college football down in Texas comes from the high school mentality. The marching bands, the cheerleaders, the dance, and everything else. Some schools have it intermittently throughout the rest of D3 Nation, but it is not the case uniformly like it is in a lot of the schools down here that have Friday night lights to pick up from to kind of get these pomp and circumstance moments. You can see the colors being delivered to the center field, and so we're going to be breaking in a second for the national anthem.
I can see Chad getting limber, getting ready to flip the coin there. He's jumping up and down, and he's going to do some jumping jacks pretty soon.
He's not as young as he used to be, but you can't tell when he gets to a crew game. Right there.
I'm really jealous of you guys because there is that intensity of being at a live game like that. Even if you're just standing on the sidelines as an old guy like me or whatever, like you feel that intensity, you feel that excitement. You can't help but like your heart races. You get maybe start to sweat a little bit. It's really exciting, and this is a huge game. You know, number 2 versus number 7, or 1 versus whatever you want to rank these teams. I mean, this is a huge game nationally, and certainly what a great stage for this to be happening.
Again, you're joining us on in the Huddle's Game Day Live, in the D3FB Huddle's Game Day Live. Easy for him to say, from Belton, Texas. Number 7, Mary Hardin-Baylor taking on number 2, number 7, Hardin-Simmons taking on number 2, Mary Hardin-Baylor. Coming up here in moments. Hardin-Simmons coming onto the field. You can see in the distance actually right now, slowly but surely, and some boos coming from our side of the stadium, and some cheers from the visitor side by the Bacom Student Union building. Looks like their captains specifically are the ones that have come out for the coin toss. And yeah, again, we didn't plan on staying out here this long, but you know what, JB, for anybody that hasn't been a part of this, that doesn't watch the web streams in time to see it, it's good to get a third-party perspective as the rest of Hardin-Simmons, the Cowboys, come out right now and take the field area. Some moans and groans, but some general respect on the Mary Hardin-Baylor side for this. And as they line up the sideline for the national anthem and for coin toss moments here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this time, would you please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing for our national anthem. Presenting the colors at today's game will be the color guard of the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor Army ROTC. Performing the anthem for us today is the Black Shirt Crew Spirit Band under the direction of Michael Garassi. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Awesome.
Get a little dark from my perspective here, so JB, we're going to be signing off for now. Watch the web stream, enjoy the game. Post-game reactions coming on Twitter later tonight. We'll have the interviews later tonight, and if you're going to go to bed early, you'll wake up to them tomorrow morning as usual. So stay tuned for that. Enjoy the game, folks. Be safe on this Saturday night, and it's great to be back covering college football on the road, even from 1,500 miles away from home for me this go around.
Amazing.
It's thrilling to be here. COVID be damned. We're here, and we're enjoying it. Have a great night, folks.